You guys, welcome to this beautiful event. And if I seem distracted, I'm letting people in as we go. I'm here with four of my beautiful friends. I am so thankful for this community. I don't know what got into me, but last month I thought, how about what would happen if we spoke about our glimmers? If we spoke about that moment that changed everything for us. And the thing that is amazing about my friends here tonight is that they run very successful Plexus teams. Okay. So their yes changed all the things. And if you're wondering if your yes is as special as theirs, it is. It really is. So I want to introduce myself. I'm Sadie Hirschway, and I'm a diamond out of St. Louis, Missouri. And go Chiefs, right? Okay, so we just want to say that. But I'm really here because I was miserable in my thyroid storm. I just want to share that with you is that I really, this all got started because I was like, let's give it a try, right? I was watching somebody in a, I don't know, this is kind of like old school, but I met my sponsor in a baby group that came from Baby Center, went onto Facebook. What? Like we talk about it all the time. We walk up on stage together every year, and it's like I would have never known her had it not been for this. And really what it's where it started was that I was just not feeling my best, right? And I was just constantly searching, and she started posting some things that I resonated with. I didn't know what gut health was. I did not know. So I am your host tonight. I am going to transition to some stories that are really special and very important. And I can't wait to hear. So I'm about to introduce somebody that actually her yes changed my life and the life of so many people. And I'm just proud to call her a friend. Jenn Hawkins, I cannot wait to hear your story and can't wait to hear about your glimmer. So
Yes. Okay. Sadie, thank you so much. Thank you for hosting this call and for asking me to be a part of it. I'm so honored. Well, first of all, I'd like to just introduce you and take you back to and have you meet the girl that I was 14 years ago before Plexus. I was an exhausted new mama. I was surviving on Diet Dr. Pepper. I had gained 70 pounds during my pregnancy and I was struggling to lose that last 20 pounds. I was hiding behind the camera. I don't know if any of you guys know what that's like. You've been like, I'm there. I've been there. But I felt puffy, you guys, and just blah. Skinny was really never my goal. I just wanted to fit in my clothes well, and I wanted to feel good. I was also working full time at an oil and gas company downtown Denver, and I would get up and go to work, and I wouldn't even see my baby girl. My husband would get her up and get her ready and get her to daycare. By the time I got home, it was time, it was just enough time to get a little bit of time with her, get her fed, bathed, and to bed. And you guys, that broke my heart. I remember sitting in my office, closing the door and just crying because I knew what I was missing with her, missing these first moments. So I was looking for something. I was desperate. I was looking for something that we could do from home, that I could do from home because I still had to contribute financially to our family. We were working really hard to get out of debt. We were on a very tight budget. And I pulled out my Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but I keep this. This is the envelope system just to remind me of kind of where I came from and like how this was very much a part of our journey because when I started the products, I was a mess like physically. I was a mess emotionally because I felt guilty for bringing the debt into the marriage. I felt guilty for leaving my baby girl. But I had to work. And so my husband, because we were on this tight budget, he said, "Okay." So Plexus came across my news feed. A family friend from Oklahoma posted about Plexus, and I was like, "That looks like something healthy to help me lose the last 20 pounds of this baby weight." So I talked to my husband. He's like, "Okay, we can make it work. We can get a line item in our budget for 2 months." But after that, you're going to have to break even. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll cross that bridge whenever I get there. And to be honest, I had always held these kind of businesses at an arm's length. And so the fact that the Lord answered my prayer for something I could do from home with a network marketing company still kind of blows my mind because I was just not going to do one of those things. But after starting the products in May of 2012, 3 weeks in, I had lost 10 pounds. I no longer, for the first time in, I don't know, years, I actually had willpower. I had control over sweets. Like they always had, in our office, they always had like, we had lunches and there would always be like the best chocolate chip cookies you've ever had in your life. And for like the first time ever, I was like, I don't want one. And I knew that there was something to these products when I did not want one of those cookies. Without even trying, I kicked my Diet Dr. Pepper habit without even missing it. So I knew I had to stay on these products and keep going. And I knew that sharing them was going to be the fastest way I could make enough to cover my products and break even. I was totally scared. I was totally nervous. I was really like afraid of what my friends would think. But I know that some of you maybe you can relate to that, or you're even thinking like, what will people think? Here's the thing. I had a desire to keep going with these products more than what my fear of what other people thought of me. So I just did it. But I did it nervous. I did it scared. I did it without knowing what I was doing, honestly. And I just started sharing. So my first full month's paycheck was just about a little under $500, and that was it. That was when the light bulb went off. My glimmer, as Sadie is saying, of like, this can change everything for my family. This was going to be it. This is going to be the way I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And where my face was the face that my baby girl saw in the morning. And I got to see all of those first. Okay. So I was all in at that point, and I really had no idea. Like Sadie was talking about, I didn't know anything about gut health. I didn't even understand why these products were working so well for the testimonies were blowing my mind, the health testimonies. And I just kept listening to them. And there were these calls that we would dial into, and I would listen to these testimonies and the business testimonies and the health testimonies. And I'm like, this is blowing me away. And this is a gift, and I have an opportunity to share this gift with other people. How can I not, knowing what they can do for people? And I was like, and if these people can make this kind of money, I can too. And I'm just trying to make $1,000 a month so I can stay home with my baby girl. Okay. If they can do that, I can do at least this, right? But I just had no idea what was in store for my journey. And I'm just so grateful. And it's, yes, the ripple effect of the life-changing stories, that is just such an incredible joy and honor to be a part of. The time and the financial freedom, just like I'm so grateful. But the community and the people, the friendships, like there's no place like Plexus. And I really like there's a saying that says we rise by lifting others, and that is Plexus in a nutshell. Like we are successful because of how many people we help. And so if that speaks to you, that you're like, I see it, it's a win-win. I get to go help change people's lives, and I get to provide more for my family. So if any of that speaks to you, then girl, you just have to go for it. You just have to do it scared. You have to do it nervous. You have to do it when you don't know what you're doing, and you have a community to surround you and be like, hey, come on, let's go. We'll do it together. So thank you for letting me share. And speaking of this amazing community, I get to hand it over to one of my diamond BFFs that I would not know if it wasn't for Plexus. And I love her so much. And so, Sonya, my friend, take it away.
Oh, Jen, I love hearing your story because it just takes me back to, you know, I met you. We both joined the same year. I joined in September of 2012. And so being able to meet Jen in the beginning and watch her children grow up. Now, this is where I can get emotional. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to do it. But I feel like a grandma in Plexus because what Jen said was the best part is the community, the relationships. I wouldn't know any of you on here, and I know several, and it's just like I can't even imagine my life without you in it, all of you that I know. And so I'll take you back. My name is Sonya Dudley. I've been in Plexus since September of 2012. I have, unlike Jen, I was a professional network marketer. I'm one of the people that people run from typically. I quit college my senior year to win my first car in Mary Kay and go full time. I went to my first convention and said, I'm coming home. I'm quitting college. I'm doing this full time. And that's exactly what I did. I did it for 17 years. Drove all the cars and never missed a convention. Pregnant, nursing, newly pregnant, puking. I never missed a convention. I caught the vision. And so I got really burnt out on network marketing. After 17 years, I was really burnt out on inventory, doing parties, lots of inventory, lots of debt. My husband was not happy ever with my career. It felt like I was just spinning my wheels. So I took a break. I was really, really sick. I took a break because I was stressed out and I was really sick. I'm not sure how compliant we need this to be, but I was diagnosed with all kinds of things: fibromyalgia, anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I had such dry eyes, dry mouth. I know that some of my symptoms now I understand were related to my breast implants, which I removed this year. I understand that. But I will tell you that I was so sick, so many other things. Uh, I was so addicted to sugar. I kept a yeast infection, a UTI infection, or a sinus infection, one of those a month for 3 years. I was always on an antibiotic. So when I got out of Mary Kay, there was about a 5 year period that I did other things and tried to get better, spent a lot of money, a lot of time. So when my best friend of now 30 something years said to me, I've stumbled across this company on Facebook, and this lady that used to be in Mary Kay with me, who was very successful, she's now very successful in this gut health company. And people are losing weight, people are coming off medicines. And Sonya, I think these products could help you. And I'm like, well, I've tried everything. I don't have any money. I don't have any money, but how much are we talking? So she told me, and I thought, you know what? I spend that amount on 4 Cokes a day and Oreos and Kit Kats because I was addicted. I said, I can do this. I'm going to give it a try. And I remember the first week on the products, everything changed for me. Now I know that God had a plan for my life. Not everyone experiences the results in a week, but the pain in my body was gone. And that was number one for me. Like, where is the pain? Where are my leg aches? What's going on? How did I sleep all night? All night. How do I not want these sweets and this Coke tastes bitter? And how is this happening? My glimmer moment for that was, if this is really, I'm not going crazy and this is really happening here. And I was like, I got to give this a couple more days. And it just kept getting better. I'm like, I could never not tell people. How could I? I swore I'd never do network marketing. I told everybody I'd never do that again. How could I not? And so that was my glimmer moment, is if something could work like this for me, what about all the people that need this? So that was my glimmer moment on the products. The products worked so well for me. I started opening my big mouth. And y'all, I wasn't scared of what to say or what not to say. I wasn't scared of what people thought of me. But I was like, what if they asked me the ingredients in it? I don't know what to say. I did it. I just winged it. And I was like, Heather, listen, I'm on this stuff. It's plant-based. It's all clean. It's natural. I don't know what's in it. Here's what I'm going to tell you that's happened to me over the last week. You got to try this. You got to try it. Well, how do I get it? Oh, I don't know. Let me figure it out, and I'll send you what to do. I was working 12-hour days. Now, I was working a full-time job at this point. I cried on the way to work. I missed so much of my children's life for about 3 or 4 years working outside the home. I hated it. And God gave me this, He gave me this thing that ate at me all the time that would say, don't you miss the time freedom? Don't you miss being home? And I would cry. And so when I got this glimmer of hope, I thought, this is what God's given me this back. And so I started telling people. And what happened was the first month, we got paper checks back then. You young people, they're called paper checks. We got those and they cashed at the bank and they worked. And I remember getting my first paper check and it was $275. And I remember saying, Michael, I have no idea how I made this, except I know it was from telling people and they've ordered, but we're going to cash this because that's going to make my car payment. And that was the glimmer moment of, not glimmer moment, actually, it was a defining moment where I cried and I said, this is it. This is what the 17 years in Mary Kay that I believed every year was it. This is what all that was for, was this moment. And y'all, I just tell you that I've witnessed these products change thousands at this point. Thousands. A lot of you on here weren't in Plexus when I was in, and I watched your stories and I've watched your team's stories. These products are the real deal, and people are still just now starting to catch on about gut health. We are just now getting started. So I'll tell you, if you're thinking about, man, could this happen for me? It can happen for you. It can happen for you. If it can happen for me in a small town with one red light, 2,000 people, put a cooler in my car to drive to Nashville to get groceries, it can happen for you. So I'm going to turn this over to, I think it's Jamie. Jamie, there you are. Jamie, beautiful friend of mine. She's a diamond as well, sweet soul, and I can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you, Sonya. Thank you all for being here tonight. I always pray before these calls that the people that show up hear exactly what they need to hear. And I just believe that all of you are here for a reason. So there's a quote by Tony Robbins that, I've always reminded myself of, that change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And almost 10 years ago, that's exactly where I found myself. I was doing everything right, working long days in the clinic, teaching fitness classes as well on the side, taking care of patients, trying to be everything for everyone. And inside, I was exhausted, I was overwhelmed, and I was so desperate for something to shift. And I remember standing in the bathroom one morning and just looking in the mirror and thinking, like, how am I this tired before the day starts? Can anyone relate with that? My body was sending up red flags, and staying the same just was not an option anymore. So, my name is Jamie Ravelli. I am a diamond. I live in the coast of Maine, and I'm a mom of two boys. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and this February marks 10 years of Plexus for me and our family. But I want to say those 10 years didn't start with success. They started with struggle. I was the healthy girl on the outside. I understood the body, worked in healthcare, but I was drained. I couldn't sleep. I had headaches, bloating with everything that I ate. I felt anxious. I had difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep. Constant energy crashes, would carry around like snacks, just low blood sugar. My thyroid levels were off enough, so they put me on, doctor put me on medication. And every day for me felt like Groundhog Day. Have you guys seen that movie? Wake up tired, push through, repeat. So on the outside, it looked like I had it all together. On the inside, I was barely holding it together. So after months of contemplating, I decided to try Plexus, and I wasn't looking for the business. I had tried a lot of things and desperately needed something that would really make a difference. And so skeptically, I decided I would give it 6 months, because we know that, it takes 90 days for our cells to regenerate in our body, right? And so I said, okay, if it took me this long, at least give it 6 months, see how things are go, and, of course, see how it goes from there. So honestly, what I found was that the combinations that Plexus offered were actually more comprehensive and far less expensive than the regimen that I was on with my naturopath. So I talked to my naturopath, and she said, I just want you on a good omega, a good probiotic, magnesium, something that's going to help your blood sugar regulation, your gut health, and inflammation reduction. Well, I found that in Plexus. And so I started sharing, and I could not keep this to myself. So at that time, it wasn't on Instagram. I had zero network marketing experience, didn't even know what the industry was. I was just a tired mom praying for something to work. And then two things happened very quickly for me. The products worked, my sleep improved, my energy returned, my mood lifted, my bloating eased. And when you feel better, everything in your life begins to change, right? I'll never forget realizing that there was one day I had gone an entire day without crashing. And I remember tearing up because it felt like hope again. And Plexus became the catalyst of my health. And then, secondly, I realized that the business offered something that my career never could, and that was freedom. So I'm here to tell you that, for those that are working, outside the home, inside the home, if you just feel like you are, wanting to add income to your home, or maybe you're just working long days, that was me in the clinic. In the medical field, we have had the degrees, the titles, the income, but we also have, many have loads of loans, the burnout, the stress, and the constant late night charting. I knew something needed to shift, and it was more than just my health. I craved more time, more presence with my family, and honestly, more joy. Even though I didn't have the business skills, I did have a heart for people, a desire to help, and a prayer for more purpose. So I said yes to the opportunity. And Plexus has transformed our lives in ways that I never expected. And just like Sonya said, like, if I can do this, you can do this. It has paid all of my bills for over 8 years. I've paid off over $100,000 in student loan debt. We bought a new home, additional land. And I say this just to cast a vision because anything is possible when you put your mind to something. I've been able to stay home with my boys. I had one boy at the time I started my business. I was able to go on and have another baby, another answer to prayer after a season when my health and lifestyle made that prayer of having another baby out of reach. I've been able to give generously, earn cars, travel, and create a life full of experiences instead of obligations. And the friendships in the community that have come along the way have been one of the greatest gifts. So, I want to leave you with this. What if this is your turning point? I want you to hear me, okay? Because I was skeptical. But what if this is your turning point? What if the next 6 months could look differently than the last 6 years of your life? What if in this moment that you reclaim your energy, your health, your confidence, and maybe even your freedom? You don't need special skills. You don't need a perfect background. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need the courage to ask yourself, why not me? Because one small yes that can change your health, one bold yes can change your freedom, and one courageous yes can transform your entire future and your family's future. So that's my story. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Leslie.
Hi, everyone. That's a hard one to follow, Jamie. Thanks. Thank you for having me on the call, Sadie. I'm so happy to be able to share my Plexus story with you all. My story is one I believe of divine intervention. 14 years ago, I met my sponsor, Blair Lavoie. Our husbands were on a President's Club. They had earned a President's Club work trip in Aruba. And Blair and I hit it off. If you ever met Blair, she's an instant friend to everyone. We hit it off and we shared a love of photography. So, um, with that, we just exchanged information, social media, and we became friends on Facebook. And fast forward 2 years later, with very minimal interaction. I saw her pop up on my news feed and I was like, whoa, what is going on with, she's doing something. I've got to find out. She looked radiant and happy and she was just glowing. And I thought, meanwhile, I was dying inside. I was at like my lowest point I had ever been in my life. I just needed change. I needed structure, and I was spiraling out of control. I was a stay-at-home mom of two small children, 3 and 6-year-old boys. I was lacking, even though I was a stay-at-home mom, and I know a lot of people, that is the goal, to stay home and have the freedom and flexibility with your young children. But I was just lacking purpose. I was a people person, and I felt very isolated in my home. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. My anxiety and my fatigue and depression that I struggled with my entire life since I was in my teens was at an all-time high. Something had to give. So something motivated me to reach out to Blair in that moment. If you know me, I just don't hold back. So I was like, what are you doing? I need to know it. Just tell me it all. And at that point, she really didn't know much. She had just started the products a couple months prior, but she was like, let me pass you on to my sponsor and she'll share what gut health is because I had no idea what it was. Um, so I signed up immediately and started taking the products. I actually split my first month with a friend. And so me and my friend kind of tandemed on this 1 month supply, and we were just loads of energy all of a sudden out of the gate. We were like, what is this stuff? Within 3 months of consistently, because that is key, consistently taking the products. They do not work if they sit on your counter. Consistently taking the products after 3 months, my mood shifted. I was off my meds for depression, anxiety, and sleeping better than ever, not needing my afternoon nap. I would crash at 3 or 4 o'clock, set my kids up with a snack and put them in front of the TV. Needless to say, I was sold on the products. And I told everyone that I knew that I had found the Fountain of Youth, but also they noticed. They noticed I was different. And so a lot of my customers became curious because I became a walking billboard for our products, both mentally and physically. The business was accidental. I had no idea what network marketing was, none. But I soon realized that helping people feel better had its perks. It was not only gratifying to be able to help others find answers to their problems, their health concerns, because I struggled so many years on this med, that med, and just nothing seemed to help my anxiety. Everything was a band-aid and just masked the underlying issue. And when I realized you focus on gut health and it actually heals and repairs, I just became sold. That was like my glimmer moment of like just constant struggle since my teens. And then I'm 38 and I just found the answer after being put through many tests and doctors and things like that. So that was kind of my glimmer moment that I had to share with others because I knew people were struggling just like I did. So it was gratifying to be able to help others find answers to their health issues, but it was also a financial blessing as well. It checked so many boxes for me. I could not believe that I could be a stay-at-home mom, which was my primary role and the most important role to me, and make this crazy gangsta income because it was wild. It was just checks were pouring in. And I was like, just like Sonya, how did this happen? Well, I just shared what I loved. And I became just a walking billboard for the product. I knew if I became better, people would notice and ask me about it. So it was kind of this organic, sale in a way. I wasn't pushy. I didn't have to be. And our 60-day money back guarantee helps so much with being able to support our businesses because our company believes that much in our products that they provide that guarantee for our customers. So 12 years later, no regrets, not one. I'd say yes a million times over to this amazing opportunity. And again, I knew nothing about gut health. I did not have a background in medicine. I was not a nurse. I didn't know anything. So Um, if I can do it, I'll echo the other ladies. If I can do it, so can you. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Sadie and she'll close us out tonight. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, how beautiful are my friends? Like, selfishly, I love doing this because I get to get my favorite, like, people together and that, it's just a beautiful community. So I hope that that came through tonight. I hope that you learned, if nothing else, you learned that a variety of history can bring you to the same glimmer moment, right? A variety of different turning points can bring you to the same willingness to share. And that's what I love about these women. And I just want to mention, and they're not going to mention this, but I will tell you that they run very successful plexus businesses. They're responsible for many, many health transformations. Their yes is a big, big deal. And so I think they're a big deal because they're my friends, but they're also a big deal because they were willing to open their mouths when it could have been hard to do it, when it could have been intimidating to do it, when they could have worried about what other people thought. And I'm so thankful that my friends did not care about whatever everyone else thought and they said yes to becoming an impact maker. So, I want you to go back to the person who invited you to this. If you're somebody that is watching the replay, still go back. That person who shared this with you wants to know what you think. They believe in you. If you're here live, if you're somebody that is a part of Plexus and you're looking for your own, like just that something that's going to move you into the next level of yourself, I just want to invite you to ask yourself what invited you to share in the first place, right? These women are just like you, and your yes is very, very important. So I want to thank you for being here tonight with my beautiful friends. I love them so much, and we will see you next time. Have a great night, and you matter.